He made millions laugh, but when he died, the silence was deafening. Ng Man-Tat, Hong Kong's legendary actor and Stephen Chow's unforgettable on-screen partner, was gone before anyone realized how sick he really was. Officially, the cause was liver cancer, but the way he vanished, the strange secrecy around his final days, and the unanswered questions about his burial in Malaysia have kept fans whispering ever since. Why did he hide his illness? Who was by his side in those final hours? And why do people believe there's more to his death than the world was told? Tonight, we dive into the mysteries that still haunt one of Hong Kong's most beloved stars. A story filled with silence, regret, and unanswered goodbyes. This is Ng Man-Tat, the death that changed Hong Kong cinema forever. Subscribe to Criminal Tracks for more hidden truths behind the world's most haunting celebrity stories. In the months before his death, Ng Man-Tat had vanished quietly from the public eye. For decades, he had been a familiar face to millions across Asia. The comic sidekick in countless Stephen Chow movies, the man who could make audiences laugh and cry in the same scene. But by late 2020, fans began to notice something was off. His once vibrant energy was missing from television appearances, and his body looked frail in rare photos. When reporters asked about his absence, the answers were vague. Some said he was resting in Malaysia with his family. Others whispered that he was ill. The truth would only come out weeks before the end. Ng had always been known for his work ethic. Even after heart failure nearly killed him in 2014, he returned to acting as soon as he could walk again. He once joked in an interview that as long as he could breathe, he would act. But the same resilience that defined his career may have hidden the seriousness of his final illness. Early in 2021, word leaked that he had been diagnosed with liver cancer. It was a blow to his fans, who remembered his brush with death 7 years earlier. He had survived once. Surely he could do it again, they thought. The first sign that this time was different came when he was admitted to Union Hospital in Tai Wai, Hong Kong. Friends visited and described him as tired but calm. His wife and children had flown in from Malaysia to be by his side. Doctors did not issue public statements, but insiders hinted that his condition was critical. Still, his management team kept things private, saying only that he was resting and receiving treatment. The vagueness fueled speculation. In Hong Kong's entertainment industry, silence often means something worse than what's being said. By February 2021, the rumors intensified. Some local media claimed he had slipped into a coma. Others reported he was responding well to treatment. No one seemed to know the truth. His closest friends refused interviews, saying they wanted to respect his privacy. On February 27th, news broke that he had passed away at the age of 70. Confusion followed immediately. Some outlets reported 69, others 71. The small discrepancy in his age made headlines across Chinese platforms, as if even the numbers surrounding him carried uncertainty. He died quietly in his sleep, surrounded by family. His manager told reporters that his final moments were peaceful, without pain. Fans who grew up watching his films flooded social media with grief. The man who had brought laughter to an entire generation was gone. But the lack of detailed information about his final days left an uneasy feeling. There were no hospital photos, no farewell messages, no interviews from those who had been with him at the end. For someone so beloved, his departure seemed almost invisible. What shocked many was the decision to bury him not in Hong Kong, but in Malaysia. Ng had spent years living there with his wife and children, seeking a quieter life away from the pressure of show business. But to many Hong Kong fans, his wish to rest in a different country felt unexpected. Online discussions exploded with theories. Some said he had felt abandoned by the local industry that once celebrated him. Others said he simply wanted to stay close to his family. His manager later confirmed that it had been his personal wish to be laid to rest near Johor Bahru, the place he had called home in his later years. As tributes poured in, journalists began piecing together the final weeks of his life. He had reportedly undergone surgery and chemotherapy, but his cancer had spread too quickly. Friends who visited described him as stoic, even cheerful, joking that he still owed some people dinner once he got out. He told them he wasn't afraid to die. Yet behind that humor was exhaustion. The same man who once dominated screens now struggled to walk. There was no public farewell, no statement from him to his fans. His departure was sudden, leaving everyone grasping for closure. In Hong Kong, where celebrity lives are scrutinized down to the smallest detail, the quiet nature of his death stood out. Fans wondered if he had suffered more than anyone knew. Did he hide the severity of his illness to protect his family from media chaos? Did the industry he helped build fail to show up for him in his final days? His death came just as many of his peers were rediscovering their fame on streaming platforms, yet he slipped away without fanfare. It added a sense of melancholy that his final act was one of silence. Stephen Chow, his longtime collaborator, was among the first to respond publicly. Their partnership had defined Hong Kong cinema in the 1990s, with Ng playing the earnest fool to Chow's eccentric genius. They had not worked together in years, sparking rumors of a falling out. When asked about Ng's passing, Chow's voice reportedly trembled. He said he still could not accept it. That simple sentence carried the weight of unfinished conversations and old wounds. The public clung to it as proof that their bond had never truly broken, even if pride and time had kept them apart. In the days that followed, the industry paid tribute with reruns of his classic films. Viewers noticed how, in almost every role, he embodied something deeply human: loyalty, struggle, vulnerability. Those traits made the uncertainty surrounding his final days even harder to accept. It felt unfair that a man who gave so much laughter to others should leave the world under a cloud of questions. While official reports emphasized that his passing was peaceful, the whispers refused to fade. Some said he delayed treatment because he didn't want to be a burden. Others claimed his illness had been known long before he went public. None of it could be verified, but it showed how unwilling people were to let go of him. To fans, Ng Man-Tat was more than a comedian. He was a symbol of perseverance, a man who fell, rose again, and kept moving. His sudden death felt like a chapter ending mid-sentence, and the silence that followed spoke louder than any statement could. In the weeks after Ng Man-Tat's death, the grief in Hong Kong turned into something else: a restless curiosity. The official story said liver cancer had taken him, but the gaps in information made people uneasy. He had seemed fine just months earlier, joking with friends, even talking about upcoming projects. Then, almost overnight, he was gone. The lack of updates from his hospital stay fueled online speculation, and soon the story began to twist into shapes no one could control. Fans wanted an explanation for how their childhood hero could disappear so suddenly, and in that absence of truth, rumors grew like wildfire. One of the first rumors that surfaced was about his treatment. Some claimed he had refused early chemotherapy, believing he could recover through herbal medicine or alternative care in Malaysia. Others suggested that doctors had discovered the cancer too late because he had ignored warning signs. A few tabloids hinted that financial concerns may have delayed his treatment, painting a picture of a once successful actor quietly struggling to pay medical bills. Though his family later dismissed such claims, the idea stuck in people's minds. For years, Ng had been open about his bankruptcy in the 1990s and the heavy debts that nearly destroyed him. To those who remembered that chapter, the thought that he might have faced money trouble again felt heartbreakingly believable. Then came darker theories. Some online forums in mainland China speculated that his cancer had worsened due to emotional stress rather than physical causes. They said he had fallen into depression from feeling forgotten by the industry that once celebrated him. In the social media age, where forgotten stars are rediscovered only after death, this idea resonated deeply. Posts circulated claiming that he had been abandoned by Hong Kong cinema, and that his death represented a silent tragedy of fame. how the laughter he gave others never saved him from his own loneliness. It wasn't proven, but it fit the public's longing for a more dramatic narrative, one where the suffering of their idol mirrored the decline of the golden age of Hong Kong film itself. Adding to the confusion were reports that his relationship with Stephen Chow had never fully healed. The two men, once inseparable on screen, had stopped working together after 2001. Some said they argued over creative control. Others said success had driven them apart. When Chow released hit films like Kung Fu Hustle and Shaolin Soccer, without him, fans wondered why Ng wasn't there. That curiosity turned into gossip when he died. Social media flooded with comments implying that he and Chow had never reconciled, and that regret might have haunted him in his final days. The truth was quieter. Chow, a notoriously private figure, later expressed his sorrow and disbelief at the loss. But in the noise of the internet, emotion was easily mistaken for confession, and that sadness became fuel for rumors about guilt and betrayal. Some local outlets began publishing exaggerated details about his final days. Stories of him refusing visitors, cutting off old friends, and allegedly saying he didn't want anyone to see him like that. These stories lacked clear sources, yet they captured the public imagination. They painted him as a tragic figure who faced death in isolation, echoing his film roles where he often played the loyal companion left behind. People who had grown up watching him believed it instinctively because it felt true to the man they saw on screen, even if it wasn't. In mainland China, another thread of speculation appeared, connecting his death to the speed of his cancer's progression. A rumor suggested that the hospital had misdiagnosed him or failed to act quickly. Some posts even accused the facility of negligence, saying his condition had worsened due to poor medical care. No evidence supported these claims, but once a rumor begins in the Chinese language internet sphere, it travels fast. Family members reportedly grew frustrated, asking the public to stop spreading falsehoods. But silence only strengthened suspicion. People took the absence of detailed answers as proof that there was something to hide. There were also those who believed Ng had been suffering long before the diagnosis. A few former colleagues hinted that he had looked unwell during his last film shoot, but had insisted on finishing the project. His sense of duty had always been unshakable, but to fans, this became yet another symbol. He worked himself to death. Photos circulated online, showing him looking thin and weary, taken months before his hospitalization. Each image was dissected, analyzed, and turned into supposed evidence that he had been hiding his illness for years. Another cluster of rumors centered around his life in Malaysia. Since moving there, Ng had kept a low profile. Some speculated that he had left Hong Kong for tax reasons, or because he wanted to escape the political tensions growing in the city. Others claimed he was living apart from his wife, or had health problems that required him to stay near specific clinics. None of these claims were verified, but they painted a portrait of a man running from his past, a narrative that appealed to audiences drawn to mystery and redemption. The most persistent whisper involved his supposed regret over missed chances. Fans repeated unverified stories that, shortly before dying, he had asked to call certain friends he hadn't spoken to in years, that he had broken down apologizing for things left unsaid. Some claimed that he wrote letters never delivered. Others, that he had recorded a video message that was lost. These tales added emotional gravity to his death, but blurred the line between fact and fantasy. The family never confirmed any such actions, but by then, truth no longer mattered. The myth of the lonely comedian saying farewell in silence had already taken root. For days, online debates raged about whether fame had cursed him. Commenters wrote long reflections about how Hong Kong had forgotten its legends, about how the entertainment industry uses people until they burn out. His name became part of a larger discussion about neglect, health, and aging in show business. Ironically, the very silence he had chosen in his final months became the reason his death was endlessly dissected. The less people knew, the more they invented. As time passed, most of these rumors faded, but the unease remained. Even those who didn't believe the conspiracy theories admitted that something about his passing felt incomplete. The man who had spent his entire career giving voice to the ordinary, the loyal, and the broken, had left without a final word. It wasn't just his death that unsettled people. It was the mystery of a story that ended without an ending. As the noise of speculation slowly settled, what remained was an enduring sadness and a sense of unfinished business. Ng Man-Tat's death had become more than a personal tragedy. It had turned into a mirror reflecting the way fame, nostalgia, and myth intertwine in Hong Kong's collective memory. People weren't just mourning an actor, they were grappling with the loss of an era. His passing stirred questions that went beyond the medical facts. Why did it feel like no one really knew the man who had been in their lives for decades? Why did the end of his story feel so vague, as if someone had turned off the lights before the final scene? Those who had worked with him tried to fill the silence. Fellow actors spoke about his humor and kindness, saying he was a man who treated everyone on set equally, from the director to the crew. A few of his longtime colleagues stepped forward to correct the rumors. They said he was not destitute, that he had taken care of his family, and that the decision to seek treatment in Hong Kong was made together with them. They insisted there had been no abandonment, no hidden scandal, only illness and time catching up to him. Yet even those reassurances failed to erase the unease. The internet had already immortalized him as the lonely veteran who died forgotten, and no truth could compete with that kind of emotional fiction. Stephen Chow's silence in the early days after the news broke became another subject of speculation. Fans waited for a statement, something that could give closure to their decades-long partnership. When he finally spoke, it was brief but heartfelt. He said he could not accept the loss, that the sadness was beyond words. That single line reignited memories of their past, the laughter, the timing, the magic they created together. It also reopened old wounds. People began revisiting interviews where Ng had spoken of their distance, and wondered if Chow had ever tried to make peace. The public imagined a reconciliation that might have happened privately, or maybe not at all. It didn't matter which was true. What mattered was how the idea of it touched people. In the absence of clear facts, emotion became its own kind of truth. As tributes continued, fans began creating online archives of his interviews, movie clips, and behind-the-scenes stories. What stood out most wasn't his fame, but his humility. He often described himself as a supporting actor, saying the spotlight wasn't for him. That humility, once endearing, now deepened the tragedy of his final chapter. He had spent his career making others shine, and in the end, the world struggled to see him clearly. Commentators wrote that Ng represented the soul of Hong Kong cinema, hardworking, imperfect, full of humor, yet burdened by quiet suffering. His death, wrapped in half-truths and unanswered questions, became symbolic of a fading generation of stars who gave everything to their craft and received little peace in return. Even years later, discussions about his death resurface every time one of his old films trends online. People rewatch those comedies and find themselves searching for clues, as if the truth about his final days might somehow be hidden in his performances. Some believe the mystery surrounding his death adds to his legend. Others see it as a reflection of how society consumes its icons, adoring them in life, dissecting them in death. The line between genuine grief and morbid curiosity has blurred, yet beneath all the speculation lies something simpler and more human. Ng Man-Tat's passing struck a nerve because it reminded people how fragile their heroes really are. The laughter he created came from real pain, from years of personal struggle that he never fully revealed. His death, though medically explained, feels emotionally unresolved because the man himself was never one to explain much. In that silence, people projected their fears, regrets, and longing for a time when stories were easier to believe. Perhaps that is the real mystery, not what killed him, but why people needed his ending to mean more than it did. His legacy endures not through the rumors, but through the warmth he left behind. Every clip of him grinning beside Stephen Chow, every sentimental role where he played the loyal friend, now carries an ache of remembrance. For many, Ng's story is no longer about how he died, but about how deeply he lived in the memories of those who watched him. The unanswered questions may never fade, but maybe that's what keeps him alive in people's hearts. The sense that somewhere between truth and rumor, the real Ng Man-Tat still lingers, smiling in the shadows of the screen. Years have passed, yet Ng Man-Tat's death remains surrounded by quiet suspicion and deep sorrow. His laughter still echoes across screens, but his silence left behind a mystery no one has truly solved. Was it illness, exhaustion, or something much deeper that took him from the world too soon? We may never know. But one thing is certain, legends like him never really die. They linger in every unanswered question. Thank you for watching, and if you want more stories like this, the untold, the mysterious, and the forgotten, make sure to subscribe to Criminal Tracks for our next investigation.